Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Max with BuzzTox here, and I'm back with the House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 7 reaction and review, where I give my thoughts on what happened in this episode and quickly speculate on what is to come. Now, before I get into the details of this episode, once again, I feel like this show keeps upping the ante. I'm appreciating every episode, I'm loving every scene, especially since we spent so much time developing these characters. I am very much invested in this show. And I think the last episode was so great because it was the introduction to the new castings for Rhaenyra and Alicent Hightower. And this episode really solidified their place playing these new characters. They're 10 years older, and I have to say the actresses are doing an incredible job. And in terms of where the story is going, I think it's amazing. Now we're starting to really see the divide between the blacks and the greens. Even Rhaenyra calling them the greens in this episode. We see Alicent Hightower being even more focused about the politics, being more vengeful towards Rhaenyra. We even see strife between their own children. And that's what this episode to me was really about. It was to show us the real difference between the blacks and the greens, and also to show how each side is getting stronger in their own right to fight against each other. With the greens, for example, Aemond lost an eye, but Aemond essentially took Vhagar, the dragon, from the blacks and turned him over to the green side because he is now Vhagar's dragon rider. And then you have the blacks, where Rhaenyra made a deal to send Laenor away and fake his death so she could wed her uncle, Daemon Targaryen, again, fortifying her claim to the throne, making her claim more legitimate once she starts having children. So each side was getting stronger in their own right, and they were getting even further divided. So let's start with the blacks, Rhaenyra's side. And really one of the first conflicts we see is her children being bastards. And it's thrown throughout the whole show. It's obvious they don't look like Laenor. Even House Valyrian questions its authority, but every single person feels different. This scene, for example, Corlys's brother makes it known that it's obvious that they are not of Valyrian blood. Corlys is standing by, doing the right thing, or being blissfully ignorant to the fact that these aren't his true grandsons, as he talks to Rhaenyra's youngest son to rule Driftmark. But Corlys's wife, the queen who never was, takes more to Lyanna's children and Daemon's children, because it's obvious that they look just like their mother, and they are of her blood, where she more ignores the rumored bastards of her son Laenor. And that was the main thing with Corlys that I found interesting. With a conversation with his wife, he says that history remembers names, not blood. And you really start to see an insight on his primary motivation of legacy. And he's almost being purposefully ignorant, just so Driftmark can be passed on to a Valyrian, and so a Valyrian can sit the Iron Throne. And that's the irony of Corlys Valyrian. He fights passionately, saying that his wife should have been the queen. But yet, when he has the opportunity to give his granddaughters a chance of ruling as a female, he says no, because he deems the name more important than his own blood. We see concern of Rhaenyra's bastards also come up when Aemon ended up taking Vhagar, which, by the way, was a crazy scene. I did not expect him to actually gain control of Vhagar. I forgot that part of the story. But it was pretty impressive. The kid rose to the occasion. And because of that, there was conflict between Rhaenyra's children, Daemon's children, and King Viserys and Alicent Hightower's children. And this is basically the future of House Targaryen. It's the future of Valyrian blood, and they are all fighting. And you see in the beginning that bonds start to show. Like, they ganged up on Aemon. And you see there a clear distinction between the blacks and the greens. The Valyrians are on the side of the blacks. And you see that even when they all meet up to discuss the events of what happened. We even see this shot right here, really illustrating that these are clearly the people who represent the blacks. And then a shot of Alicent and her son, kind of showcasing the greens. And that was a scene I found interesting too. King Viserys was furious, saying that no one should refer to Rhaenyra's children as bastards. And then when he talks to his eldest son, Aegon, he's terrified of his father, by the way, but he says that it's obvious that they're bastards, and King Viserys can't really dispute him. So Aemon here defended his mother and also gave a really good answer to shut his dad up, which was interesting. But that scene between Rhaenyra and Alicent was intense. And I think it was very well shot. I'm shocked Alicent was going after, wanted to go after another kid's eye. It's like they took the direwolf scene with Cersei wanting to kill the wolf and up the ante, where she full blown attacked Rhaenyra's son, which is insane. But I think the scene was really powerful. And then I like the scene with Alicent and Otto after kind of recapping it, where he's like strangely proud of his daughter because she's finally standing up for her family. And they vow together that they will ensure that Aegon sits the throne and that the Greens will sit the throne. Because at the end of the day, Aemon was right. He took punishment in losing an eye, but at the end of the day, he took the dragon. So that was the big win for the Greens, that they walked away with Vhagar, which is the biggest dragon currently. So that's a big deal. But then you have the other side of the coin with Rhaenyra and how she's going to get stronger. And you see that spark continue with Daemon. They set it up throughout this whole season that Rhaenyra has always had a thing for Daemon, and she still does. So figures they end up getting together. I love the twist, where I was a little bit concerned that Rhaenyra was actually going to kill off Laenor, but I really liked how they planned it. They burned and charred the body so it couldn't be identified, and he got to escape. He got what he wanted, and Rhaenyra got what she wanted, so I think that worked out great. And because of that, she was able to fortify her claim to the throne by marrying Daemon. I'm sure they're going to have heirs. So it's getting very interesting. And I did like this episode because we're getting to know the kids more. And we're clearly seeing the sides be picked. Since Daemon married Rhaenyra, the Valyrians are in a weird position. But at the end of the day, they have to support Daemon because he has their grandchildren. And that's all they have left. So that being said, I'm really excited to see where this show ends up. The last thing I will say about the show, and if you do not want to be spoiled, please leave now. I'm going to spoil it in 3, 2, 1. This season seems like it's going to end in the way that I expected. When episode 9 comes in, I think King Viserys is going to die. And this is where we're going to see the rush, where we're going to see Alicent Hightower stop the Ravens and try and get Aegon on the throne as soon as possible. And then episode 10 is kind of a lead up to season 2. But that is what I'm expecting. We're seeing King Viserys get sicker and sicker. So it seems like that's going to be the penultimate episode that's coming. But that is it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.